Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today we have a hot orange 2019 Jeep Wrangler RUBICON Pentastar V6, 72,000 miles, and customer complaint is said the check engine light's been on for a couple weeks, feels a little low on power, sometimes the engine shakes, sometimes the check engine light flashes a little bit. So we're here to diagnose it, see what's going on with this Jeep. Alright, so first things first, we have to scan this thing for codes. Easier said than done on 2018 and up Chrysler products. I've been here for half an hour, just got a code scan because you need to have a bidirectional scanner that can do auto auth authorization, so you need internet. Here, internet reception sucks, even though we're kind of in town, so I had to ask the owner for the Wi-Fi password because, you know, she lives right there in the apartments and I couldn't even get reception on my phone for a hotspot. So all these steps eat up time, and we're half hour into it and we just got a code scan. Let's see what's going on with this Jeep. In the engine computer, we have one code, which is PCM P0300 multiple cylinder misfire. Kind of generic, not that helpful. So we'll go in here, look at the live misfire counters, run it, see how it runs, see what's going on, go from there. Alright, so in the PCM menu, we can go to OBD2 monitors, including misfire, and just see if we can pinpoint if it's just one cylinder or what. Alright, so I checked the engine oil is good, coolant's okay. Let's fire it up. Oh, it does have some kind of clackety clack under the hood. Doesn't seem to be misfiring. It's a little rough. No dead cylinders. But you know, what are you supposed to do here? Graph it? Can we graph that? It's not showing anything. Oh, here we go. Cylinder 4. 2, 4, and 6, huh? Isn't that interesting? If we put it in gear. Oh, yep, there he goes, running a little rough. Yeah, something's, oh, now it's dropping out. I think check engine light's gonna start flashing right there. Not happy. So these aren't live counters. Wow. Whole Jeep is shaking. I wish it would set a cylinder specific code. Seems like the problem's on bank 2. It just says P0300. And in here, let's go into, is there a fuel trim? Nope. I'm tempted to jump out of here and just look at OBD2, look at the fuel trims bank to bank. It's not flashing right now. really not happy. It does feel like it's running on 3 cylinders here. Someone already reset the codes. I'm just interested in fuel trims. Alright guys, check this out. It's in control. Look at bank 1 sensor 2 versus bank 1 sensor 1. Or I'm sorry, bank 2 sensor 1. Stuck at 0 volts. Not good. Bank 1 fuel trim, 22%. Bank 2 fuel trim, minus 5%. So that discrepancy right there is key. We know the problems on bank 2. The richer bank is not breathing properly. Let's rev it up a little bit. Right now it does feel like a single cylinder misfire. Oh, it just started running smoother. Okay, back to its shake. And that fuel trim, this is neat. Yep, okay, now it's in control again. Yeah, look at bank 1, 25%. Adding fuel. Let's figure out which one bank 1 and bank 2 is. I should know this by now. Worked on enough of these. Sound is definitely coming from this side. And we got that VBL solenoid right there. Those things fail. I wish we had live misfire counters here. Let's take a peek. Well, it's interesting. The right bank is the odd bank. That's one of the positive fuel trims. Left bank is the even one. That's where we saw the misfires. The right bank's the one making the sound. This might not be that straightforward. What tests would you perform next? I'm tempted to, because we don't have a good misfire counter here. We just know that the even bank is worse. Cylinder 4 seems to be the worst on the misfire counters. So what we could do is, if we suspect that one bank isn't breathing as well as the other, is put a vacuum sensor on the intake manifold so you can see the pulls for each of the cylinders, and then sync it with an ignition from whichever cylinder is easy to get to, and that way we can, on the oscilloscope, see if there's a cylinder that has a weak pull. That way at least we'll know which bank to go for, and kind of narrow it down that way. Okay, so in OBD2 mode, if you go into Test Results Onboard Monitoring, mode 6, this could be very useful for determining which cylinder has the most misfires. So cylinder 1, we click on that, it says test value 0, okay. Cylinder 2, 251, 1132. So let me write all these numbers down, and if they're all even on the even bank, we're going after that bank. Alright, so I wrote down cylinders 1, 3, and 5 all have 0 counts. Cylinder 2 has 251/1132, which is the highest, and then 4 and 6 have like 100 and 80. So cylinder 2 seems to be the highest contributor here. Let me show you guys that. Cylinder 2. So this is misfire counts for the last 10 driving cycles, and then misfire counts for last current driving cycles. And that's the cylinder that has that stupid variable valve lift solenoid. I'm tempted to take it out and do a visual on it just to see, because I know they fall apart. We've seen this before on, I think, a Jeep Cherokee or a Grand Cherokee with the Pentastar. So let me pop that out, see if it moves. We can manually energize it just to start off there. But the clacking sound, that's not good. That should not happen. Whatever the solenoid does, that shouldn't happen. So we might have to end up pulling that valve cover. But we know that the problem's on bank 2 for sure. And let's say one cylinder throws off the fuel trims, and the fuel trims, you know, it can't breathe on that side. The other 2 cylinders will be affected. For example, if it takes fuel away, right, the other 2 cylinders will run lean, and the cylinder number 2 can't breathe. So it's just, you know, kind of messes up that whole bank. So it doesn't mean all the cylinders are bad, it just means one cylinder on that bank is messing up the mixture on the other 2. So I think that's where we're going. Let's get some tools out. Okay, so PicoScope is set up on 2 channels. Channel 1 is going to be the PHAD pressure transducer on the vacuum scale. So central port on the intake manifold. Channel 2 is a sync on the cylinder number 1 control wire with an amp clamp. That's just easier, it's safer for the scope just to measure the current going through that coil. Let's run it. See if we can catch something interesting on the vacuum waveform, but I don't know if we will. Alright, so let's set up our scales. For channel 1, in the custom probes, we're going to choose PHAD PSI transducer vacuum, and then for channel 2 we'll just drop it down to a plus or minus 5 volt. So in vacuum we're starting at 0, this is atmosphere, all the way down to full vacuum right here, and this will be our trigger. Let's fire it up, see. There we go. Excellent. Put it under load. Put it back in park. Let it stabilize. Okay, shut it off. Filter it, see what we see. Alright, so setting up some cursors, and we want to have 6 divisions of V6, 6 cylinders, and then we can bump up or turn down the filtering to make it a little cleaner. Okay, then the scale is about 8x, just so we can see the up and down. I don't use this test because it's not really conclusive, but this seems to be the best option in this case. So what do we see? Do we see vacuum pulls? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, you might say one's different than the others, but the manifold, you know, that central location, some cylinders are a little closer to that than the other cylinders. So again, not very conclusive. Are we at least sure it is a fuel problem, or a breathability problem, not a fuel or ignition problem? It's definitely not ignition, because that would be a full misfire. Could it be fuel? Well, the bank with the misfire, the reported misfire, 246, the even bank, that has negative fuel trims, so it's taking fuel away. So that has plenty of fuel, and I don't think that's the case. Could it be a stuck open injector on cylinder number 2? I don't think so. We really need to measure compression on cylinder number 2. It's just a pain. We have to remove the intake manifold to even do a compression test. Yeah, this is not an easy one. And then the noise is coming from bank 1, which is supposedly the good bank, which is even more concerning. Do we remove all the valve covers and see what's going on? So looking back at the video I did on Never Seen This Cause a Misfire, Part 1, Jeep V6, this 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee had the same cylinder 2 misfire, and it ended up being the VVL solenoid on cylinder 2. We took out the cylinder 1, that one still seems fine. We have to pop off the intake manifold to get the cylinder number 2. I think we can swap them around, the VVL solenoid, see if the misfire moves to cylinder 1. I think cylinder 2 is not breathing because that VVL solenoid, the plastic cup fell apart and the ball just dropped, and now cylinder 2, the valves are not being activated. And we can't do a cylinder compression test because, well, the intake manifold's in the way, duh. But let's, I want to get that solenoid out, do a visual on it, and that's the most likely scenario here. Alright, so the customer authorized further diagnostics and repairs. So we're going after this cylinder 2 VVL solenoid, which lives under the intake manifold. So let's rip that off. Hopefully we'll find that broken plastic piece. I have one coming from the local auto parts store. It's a standard Motor Products part, which worked out last time on the Grand Cherokee. So hopefully that will fix it, but we won't know until we get that solenoid out. So let's get to it. Well, I extracted the solenoid, and this isn't promising. I don't see any broken plastic pieces behind that mesh. I know the camera it's not going to pick that up. You can hear the ball rolling in there pretty freely. So I don't think it's going to be our issue. It could be one of those smart rocker arms that collapsed and the valve's still not opening. We have to tear this valve cover off and spin the engine over by hand. I guess we could do that. We're halfway there. You know, the intake manifold is almost off. Maybe we can swing it over. I don't know. Well, since the VVL solenoid is not a smoking gun, decided to remove or unplug all the ignition coils and remove cylinders 2, 4, and 6 spark plugs. 2, 4, and 6. 6 looks a little different, a little bit lighter, not the chocolate brown. So I don't know, but I just want to do a compression check on all the cylinders, see what is, if there's any discrepancy here between 2, 4, and 6. By the way, I did spin the engine over by hand, and looking down at the intake valves, you can see that or not. Get these pipes out of the way here. They're both open about the same amount. So it's not an intake valve not opening causing poor breathability. They're definitely wide open. Right there, you can see them. We can do the same for cylinder number 6. Just spin it over, visually inspect it, and then do a compression check. Alright, we got a pressure transducer in cylinder number 1. Crank it over. Zero to 135 PSI scale. Hold the brake. Okay. About 105 peak. Alright, so that was cylinder number 1. Or cylinder number 2, sorry. We got to be precise. Let's do cylinder number 4. Okay. About the same, 105. Let me save that. Cylinder 5 or 4. About 105 psi. Okay. Cylinder 4, I gotta relabel that first one. And we'll do cylinder number 6. Alright, here we go, cylinder number 6. About the same. Alright, so even though we have no smoking guns, I'm going to put the new VVL solenoid in. If it doesn't fix it, then I'll eat the cost of the part. We could put in the solenoid from bank 1 to bank 2. You know, swap them around. So I don't have to install the new solenoid if I don't have to. We could do that. Yeah, let's try that before installing a new part. By the way, the exhaust valves in number 2, number 2 are opening just fine. The seats look perfect. Let me put on all the spark plugs. We'll crank it one more time, see what it sounds like. Alright, all the spark plugs are in. Let's just crank it. Make sure we're good. Cranks pretty fast, but sounds good. Alright, she's all put back together. The only change we made is we swapped the bank 1 and bank 2 front VVL solenoids. Let's fire it up, make sure it runs. Let's clear out all the codes, look at the misfire counters. Alright, here we go. OBD2 mode. Let's clear all the fault codes out. Read fault code. Should have a bunch of permanent codes, don't care. Live data. Let's look at those fuel trims. Long term, short term, and the oxygen sensors. Okay. Graph that. So all the trims are zeros. So bank 1 trim goes to 25%. How do we clear that out? Disconnect the battery? We can try to disconnect the battery. But the bank 1 sensor 1, bank 2 sensor 1 are oscillating. Why is bank 1 25%? That's my question. So obviously we didn't fix anything. What if we let me try to clear these fuel trims out. So there must be a backup battery because this is alive, but the battery's disconnected. New cars, even disconnecting the battery is not that easy. Alright, we got bank 1 spark plugs out. Again, no smoking guns. They all look about the same. This is 1, 3, and 5. Let's do a compression check with the pressure transducer. Alright, so we'll do a running. It'll run on 3 cylinders. Let's do cylinder number 1. The other 2, should we put in the spark plugs? We don't have to, it'll just be loud. Let's just try it. Okay. Alright, so that was cylinder number 1. Let's do cylinder number 3. about 150. So there is a difference. All right, let's see what cylinder number 5 does. $150. So cylinder 1 is only going up to 125. So this is known good. Even a little higher, say 155. We'll save that. Let's do cylinder 1 one more time. All right, here we go. Cylinder number 1 again. Yep, that's low compression right there, for sure. So from this, we can say that if the compression is low on cylinder 1, the problem has to be with the intake valves. Because if the intake valves opened all the way, it would have filled all the way and the compression would have been good. And if the exhaust valves don't open all the way, no problem, the compression would not be affected. So we're dealing with likely worn cam lobes on cylinder number 1 intake valves. Holy crap. And the Jeep never set a cylinder 1 misfire code. We did have positive trims on bank 1, very positive, 25%. Did not set lean codes, it just set a random misfire code. Not helpful at all. So Chrysler misfire counters suck. There's no live misfire counters like in any other brand. Plus the auto-auth thing, that sucks too. So you can see how long this is taking. I've been here 1 to 5, almost 4 hours doing all this crap. Obviously I'm not going to charge the customer for the full 4 hours because, well, you know, we went down a couple of other paths, checked those off the list, that wasn't it. And then what do you quote the customer? New camshafts, new rockers, rollers, the whole thing? I guess. I mean, she can keep driving it this way, but it's not going to get any better. So we can put a bore scope in cylinder number 1, see how far the valves are opening, if we can get a shot of that, perhaps. But yeah, that's about it. Alright, it was worth the wait, worth the battle. Here's the money shot on cylinder number 1 intake valves. Look at that. One of them is open wide, the other one barely open. Crazy. So what's the failure here? Well, we have to remove the valve cover and inspect the rocker arms, the rollers, etc., and then quote the customer on repairs. But for mobile diagnosis, this is as far as we'll go. If the customer wants to drop it off at the shop for a lengthy repair, then they're more than welcome to. I mean, it sounds bad on this side. The fuel trims are high on this side. It's not setting cylinder 1 misfire code. Why not? That would have saved a couple hours. As we were chasing bank 2, nothing wrong with bank 2. Bank 1, intake valves. One of them is not opening enough, and that is part of that VVL system, variable valve lift. So maybe it's a failed smart, you know, fancy rocker arm with those springs. It could be. So best case scenario, won't need a camshaft. Worst case scenario will. Got to remove that valve cover and see what's going on there. But we're not doing that today. That's it for the diagnosis. If there's a follow-up, I'm sure the customer wants it fixed, you know, eventually. But we're done for today. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.